Hey, did you know that only 40% of you are subscribed to the channel? If you want Echo to eat this month, I suggest you press that red button. Alright, so you guys want me to watch this? Go ahead and do it.
Hey everyone, my name is Ash. I'm the creative director at Steel City Interactive. So I'm here to give you all an update on how the character creator is shaping up to be in Esports Boxing Club. This is a work in progress, so there's still elements that need to be worked on, so just keep that in mind. So let's get to it. Okay, so this is the first page within the character creator. I'll take you through all the various options available. Let's start by
Looks clean so far.
Name. So we'll call him Joshua. So we're using Josh's career mode right now. So Josh is one of our
surname is last name for people who don't
artists.
Understand the European
so we have to have
slang,
right? With boxing. So again, it's a work in progress. So we're going to have this list expanded.
I wonder if they'll say the first name and last name. Okay, so I'll pause it, I guess, to make it a little easier so you don't skip anything whenever I have anything to add. I wonder if they'll be able to say the first name and the last name in the commentary table, or if they'll just say the nickname. I really hope they'll be able to say the first name, at least the last name. I really hope they'll at least be able to say the last name, because that would be absolutely revolutionary if they'd be able to do that stuff. That'd be pretty cool. I see hometown, stance, and walk-in music already. I know he said it was a work in progress, so I'm not gonna like bash on anything, but I will say things that I want to add. Not just orthodox or southpaw. Give me a type of stance, right? Like, can I do a long stance? Can I do a like more Philly shell stance? Can I do like a Bruce Lee Wing Chun type stance? Can I do a classical Mexican boxer stance? A hands down at the waist stance, and can I have different block styles like they were in Fight Night? Can I have, again, the Philly shell block style, the mummy, the classic Mexican style blocking? Can I have this like different type of moving blocking as well? I would like to see all that. I like to see different movement styles, like people who like to plant their feet more, like be a little more flat-footed, and people who like to bounce a little more. I would like to see that as well. Walk-ins, I would like to see a lot of customization with the walk-ins. Maybe something like and I'll put as many pictures on the screen as I can, or videos on the screen as I can, as to what I'm talking about. I like to see a lot of stuff like there were in UFC Undisputed 3, how like you could change the style of this part of walking out and this part of walking out. Like also in the WWE 2K games, you could do that as well, where it was like you walk, this is the stage, this is the ramp, this is the in-ring walk-in, where you have different animations per thing, so you can really tailor it to be your custom person. Because for me personally, everyone that knows me, everyone that watches my streams, watches the videos, knows that my main thing in video games is character customization. All my created calves is what I'll call them, as created fighter. All my calves look very good. They always have. I'll put up a few screenshots of my calves in UFC 4. They've always looked good in every game that I play. They've always looked as realistic as I possibly make them. So hopefully within this game I can kind of go in depth with it, and the more tailoring able in these kind of games, the better the game will get received by the fans. And that's like with all the gameplay mechanics being good, but in this video we are only talking about the kind of bells and whistles, the hood of the car, the outside of the car, the frame and the body of the car. This is all the bells and whistles. This is the aesthetically pleasing things, so I'm just gonna kind of disregard for the gameplay mechanics for this video, because this is not what this video is covering. But as bells and whistles, I think the more tailoring, the more customization optional, the better it will be received by fans, and the better of a game you will get in this sense.
Age will be when you start your career mode. This will obviously impact things like your retirement as well. So we'll go with 18. So weight, we have divisions from flyweight through to heavyweight.
I also hope that you're not just only be able to create a character for career mode, because he did say it would affect your career mode. I hope that you can create a character and change all of his attributes and his moveset and the way the punches look and everything like that as just a created fighter. I hope that you're not only creating fighters for career mode. That would be the preference.
We'll put Joshua at 140 pounds. So welterweight. The super versions of the divisions will be included once the roster expands.
I also enjoyed the bottom right, the
One
HUD.
of the aspects
That's
currently being
very
worked on,
clean and a very
is
nice
around
touch how they
scaling
can have
of-
the
of-
reach and
of
everything
each
like
of these
that.
fighters. So that will be implemented
Can you
shortly.
change the reach? Is that in a separate,
Hometowns, again, it's just another aspect of something that
or
will
is it
be
just like an auto
continually
thing?
increasing as the game's developed. It's not just a case of the text versions. We have to implement ring announcers, commentary, etc. So that's something that again will be expanded upon release. Stances in terms of orthodox and southpaw.
This is clearly for career mode, as I said before. Again, I hope they'll be able to. I'm pretty confident that they will add a creative fighter in the base game, just in the sense. Because I don't understand why they wouldn't, especially if they're going this in depth with it. I know I've only seen this part, but I have watched this video before. I'm just breaking it down to a more extent now. I do know that they're going very in depth with the creative fighter, so I couldn't imagine them only making it for career mode. But it's very clear in the top right, you can see that there's earnings and XP and everything like that, and the rating is at 0. So that this is clearly for career mode, but hopefully they'll allow this for a regular creative fighter section.
And the walking music. So the ring entrance music, we have a number of licensed tracks which people will be able to select as far as the walking music goes. So let's get to the actual changes that we can make to the faces. So I've never really been a fan
details, amazing.
of just having presets available. So whether there's just presets for eyes, nose, mouth, I prefer full customization. So we decided to go with both options within ESPC. So we really feel that expands the actual selection and the number of options that are available to players. So you will be able to select presets, but once you've selected those presets, you can then change and customize those individual presets, which I feel gives you the maximum amount of variations.
That is exactly what everyone has been looking for in every fighting game or customization game, regardless of its fighting games. Like let's say Ghost Recon Breakpoint. That's one of those games where it has heavy customization, but not necessarily in the character creation itself. It has heavy customization in what you can wear and what you can put on your guns, but in the character, you create a head. You pick a head. Same thing with UFC 4. Is as weird as it is, UFC 4 is more implemented on the way you look as a fighter than that game is. They only have a little bit more customization. You pick a basic head and you can change some sliders within that head, but you can't really change the facial structure of the head very, very drastically compared to the head that you're given. It's very strange that we have a smaller development company or a group of developers making a fighting game that have, with probably 1/4 of the budget. I don't know what their budget is. I don't know. I could be talking out my ass right now, but with that little amount of people, I can't imagine them having the same amount of budget as EA or anything close to it. Giving way more options and listening to the clientele tenfold more than EA ever has. You know what I mean? So this is crazy. I mean, in any of the EA Sports UFC games, UFC 3, in my opinion, is much better than UFC 4. But even in UFC 3, we didn't even have close to many of options when it came to facial customization as this. This is very reminiscent of something like NBA 2K, which I think, in my opinion, when it comes to face customization, is the best video game on the market right now. When it comes to sports games of customizing, the way customizing a person or a player in a sports game. I have yet to see a fighting game, not a fighting game, but a sports game in general that gives you as much customization options, especially when it comes to the face and hair. And I think those are very important parts, especially a face. It's their likeness. You know what I mean? If you want it to look like someone, it kind of has to look like someone for it to work. You know what I mean? You can't just have a basic hairstyle and a beard, and you'll be like, oh, that resembles them, but it's not them. You know what I mean? It's things that you need to clearly get down. And I think being able to choose, as it looked like there were like 8, 9 presets for the eyes there, and they made it a whole they added not only did they have the presets, but they have the actual sliders as well. This is stuff that we should have in UFC. This is stuff we don't have, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And I hope they look at this and take this as a competitive side and be like, oh, well, we're gonna put it in the next game now, instead of taking it as a straight call out, which it kind of is. But I hope they don't take it like that, so we can get just better games in the future from all around people. This is amazing, though. I will say that.
In terms of
I praise them for this.
Fighters can look. So let's go ahead and change some of these options. So we're going to set his eyes in a little, I think.
I also enjoy how when he goes to the utmost part of it, it doesn't dramatically
again,
change
the
it.
level
It's
of,
realistic no matter what you do. You can't really make a crazy looking guy, because
changing the inner shape of the
I wouldn't call myself a purist, but I enjoy when I'm fighting a
giving
calf
players that
online, I
maximum
don't want to
amount
fight
of
some crazy looking
customization.
guy. You know what I mean? I want to fight
And
someone
again,
who looks like another person.
This is a work in progress, so expect some of these sliders to change, some more being put into the game, but this is where we are right now in terms of the number of options available. Again, eyebrows, we have a number of different shapes and sizes. We can then customize various aspects of the eyebrows. So we'll give him a little bit of a frown, change the actual position of his eyebrows and the rotation. So let's give him a bit of an angry look. Okay, so eyebrow cuts. Yeah, we're going to implement this feature shortly, so it's not complete yet, but again, it should give you an idea in terms of the level of detail we're going through.
I'm curious, is that making it more susceptible to cuts, or are they scars?
In terms of how
I am curious about that. Or is it how the eyebrow will cut if it gets hit? That'd be interesting if they went into that much detail.
So with regards to the character creator itself, we actually always had plans to launch this into Esports Boxing Club. However, we weren't initially planning to launch it as part of the early access launch. It was going to be an update further down the line. But we realized that the messages that we received from the community on a daily basis, in fact, in terms of character creator and what you guys would like to see, kind of essentially changed up our pipeline. So
that's exactly what I want to hear too.
And we've decided to launch character creator as part of the early access launch.
That is exactly what I want to hear. I want to hear a company that listens to the community, and when they hear a complaint or hear a request, they follow through on it or respond to it at least, and they change their entire workflow to match what the community wanted. And that's what we need in the fighting community when it comes to games, because we do not have that right now. We only have EA, who do not listen to the community whatsoever and take back steps into the next games, and I'm talking as someone who enjoys the UFC franchise from EA. I'm talking as someone who played Fight Night growing up, who played, Undisputed 1, 2, and 3. As someone who played all of the EA UFC games and continue to play UFC 4 every day. I play that game every day. But there are issues with it. Glaring issues. And the biggest one is that EA has a tendency to not listen to their fan base and go for money. And I think this is a big change, a good change that we have or that they're implementing that we've needed for a long
Um,
time in the fight sports gaming community.
so this is essentially why you're seeing this video. So we appreciate all the comments and feedback that we get on our social media channels, to our email, and it's amazing with the support that we're receiving. So yeah, essentially your voices are being heard, and we're a studio that puts.
Look at the mouth
our
customization. Look at
community,
them changing
as part of
the
our
corners
decision-making
and the
process.
way it goes. It's
Um,
just,
and
it's
here you can see
so much more
first
realistic than other games.
example
Even
of that
NBA
taking
2K
place.
that I praise for its facial customization
We've,
and hair
changed quite a
customization
few
doesn't have this in-depth
things
type
about
of
the
style.
character.
You know, it's in-depth. You can change the preset and then edit that preset, but you can't edit the preset like this.
Chin size I'm fairly comfortable with. Jaw height as well. Again, one of the aspects that we have to think about with what we're doing here is the realism that we're looking for. So on one hand you have scanned fighters which look ultra realistic, almost lifelike. So that really changes up what's possible in the character creator, because what we can't do is have a system whereby the created characters do not look as good as a real life scanned fighter. Now that in itself is a pretty tall task, but the technology that's being used and the customization options that we now have, we're fairly close to achieving that.
Now that is something that I am very interested in looking at. Is no matter what game you play, it does not matter which one. The one that I've seen the closest representation to is NBA 2K, where the created players look like the scanned players. That's the closest thing. And even then in 2K, you can see a difference. There's a very clear difference in every game that I have played, especially sports games, between the scanned athletes and the created athletes. There's this very difference. This just has that created fighter look. You can tell it's not a realistic interpretation, no matter how realistic you get. As I said, I've put screenshots on the thing that I get as realistic as I possibly can into it. I change the faces up, but there are points where they don't look the same, and everyone has had that feeling, and I think that if they can pull this off, that will be absolutely revolutionary for the gaming industry in general, regardless of what genre they're going for.
That goal, where our character creator would look as good as someone fighting a fighter who's been scanned. So if you're going to be up against, Josh Taylor or Conor Ben, we didn't want there to be a visual disparity between the two. So we're fairly pleased with how this is coming along. In terms of hair, so this is obviously an important part of the character creator suite. And in terms of hairstyles, we only have a few in right now, but we will be looking to increase and expand this, simply because, again, because we've really set the bar in terms of how the fighters look. We've got to find and create hair that really gives us that same level of quality. But again, keeping in line with being able to customize your character as much as possible. We weren't satisfied with just having preset hair, so different hairstyles. We want you to be able to change those hairstyles, so modify them essentially. So with this particular preset, I want to increase the flatness of this, so it's not as bouncy. So as I change this slider, you'll be able to actually see his hair and the individual follicles essentially changing. So now, even with that preset hairstyle, it looks pretty different now. Now that I've changed the flatness of the hair itself, and you can actually grow it out as well. So again, it's all about having a unique character in the game, so all the characters don't look the same.
They do need to work on the hair. The hair does not look up to par with everything else that they have on here. The hair does not look realistic, but which I'm sure they will. I'm sure that, I mean, with how polished everything else looks, and how polished I've seen screenshots of character scans, I'm sure that they will. I mean, they said this is very early build. But the fact you can change the weight of the hair and the length of it, you know, as I said, NBA 2K is one that I look for customization. You can change, you can add fades, you can add designs on the side, you can have the length of the hair. But this is a whole new level. You can change the weight of the hair, you can change how thick it is. That is something that I am very excited for. You know, this is why I've been looking forward to this game and trying to find every bit of like footage and screenshots and everything like that. Now, and I would love to, as soon as possible, get an interview with one of the devs or someone working on the game or someone close to the game development, just because I have questions of my own that I like to ask. That I might get to later in this video, but yeah, I mean, definitely work on the hair, but like the quality of like the ideas that they're having here and the concept is absolutely blowing me away.
The hairstyles that they have. So again, we wanted to really expand on what's possible with that. So the hairstyles will be expanded as the game launches. Okay, same with the bodies in the game. There'll be various body shapes and sizes, obviously relative to the weight class that you select. The same goes with the waistline of the character. So you can have slim, trim-looking fighters, right through to fighters that aren't so trim. So again, the customizations there. So the skin tones were a really important part of what we were doing here.
I wonder if you can see, you have chest, abs, biceps, arms, forearms, and legs. I would like a little more options with that, you know, not just bicep, but let me be able to change the triceps. The shoulders are a big one too. I don't know why shoulders, I guess that's implemented with chest. I would like to do shoulders and back as well. You know, if you're going to go as deeply as the forearms and biceps, you know, let me be able to customize the shoulders, the back, and the tricep as well.
Because of everything that we're doing in ESPC and the standards that we're looking to set, a color wheel or just changing the color of the skin there wasn't going to cut it for us. So different races have different skins, so the skin texture would be different. So a white skin or a black skin doesn't look the same, removing the color aspect. So for us, it was about recreating that texture and scanning those different skin textures. So what we've got right now is a wide range of skin colors in there, but also the actual texture itself. So if
that's very smart, because that's something that I've always noticed.
If I kind of zoom
in video games, especially the WWE ones where they have a color wheel.
A simple case of,
you can tell that if you change someone to have a darker skin tone, they don't look correct
on the skin itself. The actual skin texture changes. So again, it's just part of the realism and our passion for
the shoulders didn't light up. I'm confused now. Do you not?
Boxing game.
Is that with the biceps then?
It does make things difficult considering the resources and the size of our team, but we're making good progress and we're happy with what we have so far. Again, in line with that, changing some of the definition
of each of
the individual areas.
Forearm.
So that, again, all of this is a work in progress. Same for the leg muscles. This one, it changes the calves at the back. Okay, so going on to the actual clothing.
I would like to see more with the body customization again. Let me change the shoulders, the triceps, the quads. You know, it just lets you change the calves. You know, let me change the quads, because because personally I like the retro boxer short where it's a little higher up. So if you get to see my quads, I would like to be able to change that as well. You know, the body needs a little more customization. than what they're giving. But again, it's more than what we get. Another thing, and I haven't seen a reach customizer so far. Like I see the reach in the bottom right, but in the beginning, as I said before, you know, you changing the height automatically changes the reach. I don't agree with that. I think they should be separate. I think the reach should be a separate thing you should be able to customize, because everyone has a different reach, and there are people that are super tall with short reach, and there are people who are super short with long reach. You know, I just believe that you should be able to customize that on a separate note.
Aspect. So all of this will be customizable in terms of colors. At the same time, we've got some really exciting announcements to make, which will be posting some information.
This is perfect though, because a color wheel makes you gives you so much freedom.
Some of the biggest glove manufacturers in the world that will be featuring in Esports Boxing Club. Not only that, they are creating an exclusive line of gloves that will only be available in the game.
That's cool.
So essentially, you'll have some major manufacturers that will have some branded gloves in here, which will be available to your
I do
fighter.
think the color wheel is very smart
as
for this
career
option. You know,
some of these will be unlocked.
You know, having it as customizable as you possibly can.
At the same time,
is definitely the way to go.
There's plenty of people that won't want to go through the whole creating individual components, so you can just randomize a whole bunch of stuff. The same goes with things like boots.
I will see the detail and the stitching and the leather. I can see the shine on it, and like the quality of the material is very very high quality.
So again, a lot
it's
of
kind
this
of a
is
cool
around
colorway
customization in terms of what's available to each of the players. And the same thing goes with the shorts.
Like some people don't want to admit that boxing, how flashy boxing actually actually is when it comes to the shorts. I mean, it's a very big part of it.
Again,
I also don't see robes or anything like that, which I think they will probably add in later on. But
again, you can just randomize things if you don't want to spend time doing that. So another option that we have is the ability to upload and share your fighter across different players. So if you create somebody, the fighter share will be built into early access, and as I mentioned, the randomized feature is also in here as a fighter. So you can see how
there's a little bit of clipping going on in the gloves with that guy, but I do think
so. I hope that gives you a good idea in terms of what to expect with regards to the character creator and the system. We'll be creating more development videos that are a work in progress. So as you're watching these, just obviously keep that in mind. This isn't the finished look. Again, it's just to give you an idea of how things are coming along.
So that's the end of the video. We go ahead and switch to a full cam here to make it a little easier. That I am blown away. It is, for me, the best fighting game customizer that I have seen so far. Even with it not being finished, you know, if it gives me more hairstyles and then more body modifications, and one thing I did not see were tattoos, which is a big thing for me personally. If they do not have tattoos, that's going to be a real letdown. I'm assuming they will have them in the game, in the creative fighter, but I do want to see tattoos, and I want to see how well they are manipulated around the body. I think, you know, it's hard not to compare to other games, but I think you have to in the sense of trying to get an idea of what you would like. I think the best tattoo mechanic is the EA UFC games. I have yet to see any game come close to it when it comes to the way the tattoos look and the way they move around the body, and how freely and the high quality of the tattoos. I think that's a good game to look at when it comes to tattoo placement and how they're working.